Good afternoon. Welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It's Wednesday, the 27th of November, 2024. And this is program number 1292 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calixte George Jr. Now, of course, in addition to radio 101.1 FM, you can also get us at our website. It's rcistlucia.com. You can download our previous shows on that platform. And you can also stream us live on Facebook. We're up and running. And of course, you just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International. Please be sure to like and share that link as well with your friends and family. And of course, if you want to call in today to tell us what's on your plate, the number to do so is 452 3046. Again, 452 3046. And if you've got WhatsApp, you can use that too. You can message in to 724 0008 with your questions and comments. You could also call in on WhatsApp. Again, that number is 724 0008. Now, some birthday greetings for today. First, we want to send out some greetings to Miss Fayan Leopold. Happy birthday to you. Hope you're having a fantastic birthday celebration. Also to Miss Davian Bledman, who's celebrating her birthday as well. Happiest of birthdays to you, Davian. And we do hope it's a wonderful, wonderful day. Also, the former head of the Folk Research Center, Mr. Hilary LaForce, celebrating his birthday as well today. And we're wishing him a wonderful birthday celebration. Hope it's a great one. And to Mr. Donald John or Kendall John, happy birthday to you. And we do hope that you're having a very, very blessed birthday celebration. In the history of the day, we go back to the year 1095, in which the Pope at the time, Urban II, preached to the West to wrest control of the Holy Land from the Seljuk Turks. And that was at the Council of Clermont, and that triggered the First Crusade. In the year 1493, on this day, Christopher Columbus returned to La Navidad colony in Hispaniola, found that colony destroyed by the first Native American uprising against Spanish rule. And that was the Taino cacique. Caunabo led his people to attack the settlement after the brutal treatment they received from the garrison at the time. In the year 1807, the Portuguese royal family and its court of nearly 15,000 people left Lisbon for their colony of Brazil to escape invading Napoleonic troops. And in 1895, on this day, the Swedish chemist Alfred Nobel, his will established the Nobel Prize. We now move on to our dish of the day. Welcome back to our program here, and we do hope that you're having a very blessed midweek. Now, of course, we quite often complain about the matter of the condition of our roads here in St. Lucia. And this has been a very long standing matter. We've perhaps for well, as long as we've known the country, we've always had a significant challenge in terms of keeping up with the demands of the road network, and it is a major challenge for a small country, small state like ours, with limited resources, but also finding ourselves in a highly vulnerable part of the world. In fact, when we look at the Caribbean, some of the most vulnerable islands, based on certain indices that have been looked at in terms of natural disasters, they are found in the Caribbean, and St. Lucia is one of those. And so, very often, a lot of the resources that are to be put into road development, a lot of it has to be just trying to reinstate roads, which quite often have been damaged due to hurricanes, major weather events that cause flooding and landslides. And in many instances, entire roads just seem to be, washed away, or bridges get destroyed. And a lot of the resources of the country ends up trying to keep the system that we have, as inadequate as it already is, running. And like I said, this is a perennial problem. It's a problem that nearly every country in the Eastern Caribbean certainly faces. And the other reality of it is that road construction has gotten more expensive, and even major countries like the United States of America, uh, they have not actually, a lot of what they're doing is actually ensuring that they can maintain, or try to maintain, their road network. And of course, it's a massive country, and they've got one of the best road networks in the world. But a lot of that investment was done many decades ago, from starting back in the 50s, when they had the Federal Highways Act, the establishment of the interstate highway system, and quite a lot of money was placed into that road infrastructure, roads and bridges and tunnels, to be able to move people around. And really and truly, they have not been building new links and new roads on that system for some time. And so a lot of what you see is upgrades of existing highways, existing roads, and that's already taking up a significant chunk of the resources. In the case of St. Lucia as well, one of our challenges is that of poorly planned development. And in very many cases over the years, we've seen situations where developers decided to subdivide land to provide properties, lots for homes, and unfortunately never put in quality infrastructure. And we've seen the results of that. Now, it becomes the state's problem invariably, because there is this expectation, albeit that individuals went out and they purchased these properties and they got a bad deal. There is this sort of hope and expectation that the government will have to step in to be able to fix these roads after the fact. So in many instances, uh, these roads may have, the surfaces may have been poor, they may not have had appropriate drainage. Sometimes there were no real, they were just literally cuts in the land, and not really anything of much of a road. And the expectation then is for somebody to come and save the day. And so a lot of the resources of government in terms of road construction really end up also having to be targeted towards, playing catch up with respect to the poor infrastructure in a lot of these subdivisions, and trying to ameliorate the problems that have in fact existed for quite some time. And especially in the north of the island, where we've seen a lot of urbanization or suburbanization, that has been part of the challenge. And so we've seen, in places like Beauséjour, in places like Bonte and Cap Estate famously as well, the roads have been bad for a good while, and the government is now expected to come in and to play a role in improving the condition of those roads. It is not helpful. In fact, just today, for instance, I saw in one online group somebody complaining about the situation of trucks, water trucks. And remember, in many of these places, we've got water challenges. And so, especially when you have these large hotels now, these hotels are trucking in water. And the reality now is that the roads are getting damaged as a result of the heavy loads, axle loads of these trucks. So it is a pretty bad situation. And to, of course, make matters worse, again, coming back to the issue of planning, is that a lot of our services are effectively placed within the road reserve, and not just in the road reserve, but they are also placed within the carriageway itself, right? Under the road surface. And needless to say, we've seen time and time again a road gets done, and because we you know, the situation that we have, remember, is that we don't have one central municipal government. We actually have some differences here in that you've got wasco, which is a state-owned entity, and then you got the Ministry of Infrastructure, which is doing the roads. So sometimes you find a situation where a road is done by the Ministry of Infrastructure, but the pipes and the other, you know, is they're not replaced, and you will find maybe later on down the line somebody says, "Hey, I need a connection," and we see what happens. The roads get cut up, and that has been a major, um, you know, problem for a lot of individuals, road users, as a result of that. And of course, the water utility gets blamed. Nobody's happy about the situation, but it really is part of the challenge of improper planning in some instances. So we're now in a situation where there are some attempts to address some of these roads, especially the secondary roads in some parts of the island. One of them, of course, is the chaussee. And the chaussee is that famous boundary road for the city of Castries. It effectively marks the end of the grid, the end of that flat downtown area of Castries, and where that now begins to transition up into the hills of the surrounding the Castries, that basin that is Castries. And that road, of course, very, very old road, historically, is a really important link road for Castries. In fact, it was originally the main way to enter Castries from the north of the island. And of course, it's down right now for rehabilitation, but there are a lot of utilities under that road, including potable water as well as wastewater, sewage, sewer lines, and those are pretty dated. The sewage network of Castries dates to the 1950s, right? In that post Castries fire era, when Castries finally got a sewer system, and so it's certainly clearly a lot of these lines do need to be replaced. We are also very much aware that one of the major challenges that the water utility faces is what they term non-revenue water. Water that is put into the system, but is not finding itself to the homes and businesses around the country because of leaks, right? It's just simply ending up as losses on the system, and so that's another major problem that has to be addressed. So it has certainly been a major inconvenience, no doubt, for a lot of the road users, because, as I said, that chaussee road is in fact the main artery for a lot of people to be able to access the East Castries area, whether it's Marshall Road, whether it is Leslie Land. It's also a critical bypass road for people who don't necessarily want to go onto the Inner Relief Road and along the highway. And so the issues of congestion, of course, are quite real, and especially given that a number of schools are located in the East Castries area, St. Joseph's Convent, the Entrepot Secondary School, Leon Hess Secondary, and Bocage, and so on. And so it is certainly a major problem, no doubt, with the certain time of day peak traffic along that road. So uh, let's hope that we can see some improvement in terms of the traffic management, however. And I think that is really where the challenge of these situations come in. Has it been worked into the project? I don't know, but in very many instances, it certainly does need to be so. The reality is that to make an omelet, you do have to break eggs, and invariably there will be delays in any road project that you're going to find, especially when you're dealing with some very critical roads, and especially given the fact that our road network is not very well developed, and so the opportunity for alternatives are not quite often there. For instance, we are going into the cruise season. We're already into that period of time, and of course, there is work ongoing on the West Coast Road. Now, you'd remember that this is part of a UK funded project. Um, the UK government agreed to provide infrastructure support to the countries around the Caribbean, and this is something that has dates way back as far as Prime Minister David Cameron, and in fact, former Prime Minister St. Lucia, Dr. Kenny Anthony, going and making a plea about getting the UK to provide more infrastructural support. And out of this came this funding. And so finally, we're seeing some of these projects, the Millennium Highway and West Coast Road, happening. Millennium Highway, of course, happened first, and hopefully, right, we may be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel or tunnels along the Millennium Highway as a result. Oh, now the Julian Alfred Highway, in terms of seeing some completion on that very, very important link. But the West Coast Road, of course, very important for tourism, very important for the communities along that coastline, ancillary canneries, Belvedere, Bouton, and Soufrière, and further down, Choiseul as well. And so it is going to be certainly a big difficulty for persons traversing that road. And I have to say, if you don't have to go on that road, I wouldn't do so. I had cause to go down to Soufrière a couple of weeks back, and certainly the road surface, um, given the fact that the contractor is on it, and the approach that he's taken, which is to sort of scarify the entire surface, and there's a lot of loose material. It's not an easy drive. You've got to be very cautious. You got to take your time because it certainly is not, it's under construction, basically, right? So I think I'm not sure how that's going on down, of course, with respect to a lot of the taxi operators and the coaches, the tour operators who go down that side and who are depending on that. But perhaps there should be some consideration to see how there can be maybe, I know, of course, there are a lot of catamarans that go down there that would, of course, bypass that road, thankfully, but it's not an easy thing for a lot of those other operators who would be depending on that. So let's all exercise a great degree of caution with respect to that road at this time, particularly beyond the ancillary into canneries. Definitely is one of those areas where you need to exercise lots of caution, because the road is already very winding. It's going through mountainous terrain in any case. So it already is somewhere an area where you have to be exercising a lot of caution, and even more so at this point in time. Another road that is actually being tackled is a very important link which could provide relief to motorists in the north of the island. And that is the road from Lafayette into La Rivière Mita, and then up to Desrameaux, and then from Desrameaux into Montciton. And that road certainly can allow, once it's completed, could certainly allow for persons to have an easier and safer drive and not have to necessarily go onto the highway, especially if their planned destination is um, anywhere near Babono or beyond Castries. It effectively may allow you then to bypass Castries, similarly to how the Balata Mondador Road would be able to provide you that, but you'll be able to divert from an earlier point um, closer to Rodney Bay. So hopefully, once that is actually also completed, it will definitely improve on the drivability of the road. In some areas, that road was very, very narrow, especially in the Deramo Monsitor area. And I noticed there has been some effort in trying to widen it. Also, pretty narrow in the La Riviere meter area. And remember, these roads quite often were not more than tracks, which were later on paved and were really not designed for any significant amount of traffic. But as we are seeing the ever increasing number of vehicles on our roads, and of course, as people are moving further and further out into some of these communities for housing, for residential purposes, these roads certainly are becoming very important for general users to be able to divert or find alternative routes to the very congested Castries Grosley corridor. So it's good to see that some of these links are happening. That one, as I mentioned, ties into the Lague area and or the Plateau area, and then would take you through Pebush into Babonneau, and then along that ridge, you could then go into Deglo, and as I said, avoid actually heading into the city of Castries. But in the long term, and this is a big issue. A lot of these, as I said, were never really designed for that purpose. And so even the widening that you're seeing might be good, but it's perhaps still not going to be really adequate because of the fact that they're not really properly designed and aligned for arterial level traffic. And so certainly thinking more long term, the reality is that we probably still will require seeing an investment of some proper bypass of the city of Castries, which invariably major cities all require. I mean, Bridgetown, of course, was able to do so some time back, thanks to the vision of Tom Adams, and so of course, as a result of them, they were able to get the ABC Highway, which effectively forms a bit of a ring, well, a ring around the northern part of Bridgetown, and you can bypass the city itself. And so certainly Castries does need something akin to that to be able to support its future and continued development. That's our dish of the day. When we come back, we are taking our weather report, and then we're going to head back to taking some other matters in the news as well as some calls.
Thank you, Calix. We now take a look at the latest weather report. It's as of 12 noon today, and it's brought to you by Island Style Thailand Bath. Time now to take a look at the latest weather report as of 12 noon today. It's the 27th of November, 2024, and the forecast at this hour is Webster Gajada. The forecast for St. Lucia valid for the next 24 hours. The winds blowing between the east and the east-southeast near 20 miles per hour or 31 kilometers per hour. The weather, fair to partly cloudy with a few showers at first, becoming mostly cloudy with scattered showers, some of which may be heavy, and isolated thunderstorms from late tonight into tomorrow. A recap of the forecast for St. Lucia valid for the next 24 hours. The winds blowing between the east and the east-southeast near 20 miles per hour or 31 kilometers per hour. And the weather fair to partly cloudy with a few showers at first, becoming mostly cloudy with scattered showers, some of which may be heavy, and isolated thunderstorms from late tonight into tomorrow. Marine forecast now for seas in a 25-mile or 40-kilometer radius from St. Lucia. High tide for the Castries Harbour we are presently experiencing. The low tide will be at 16 before 8 tonight. And the Vieux Bay's high tide at 3 minutes after 2 this afternoon, and the low tide 11 minutes after 9 tonight. The seas are moderate, the waves 4 to 6 feet, the same as 1.2 to 1.8 meters in open waters. Now for the forecast for the Lesser Antilles. We're looking at partly cloudy to cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms over the southern Windward Islands and areas further south. Over the Leeward and central Windward Islands, fair to partly cloudy with a few showers at first, becoming partly cloudy to cloudy with scattered showers, which may be heavy in some locations, and isolated thunderstorms from late tonight into tomorrow. So that's the Lesser Antilles. And now for the tropical weather outlook. A moderate easterly wind flow will continue over the eastern Caribbean region during the next few days. Moisture and instability associated with a trough system will cause some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms over the Lesser Antilles during the forecast period. We're not expecting any tropical cyclone formation over the tropical Atlantic during the next 7 days. A recap again of the tropical weather outlook. A moderate easterly wind flow will continue over the eastern Caribbean region during the next few days, and moisture and instability associated with a trough system will cause some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms over the Lesser Antilles during the forecast period. That is the official weather report. Do join us again in the morning at around 6:30. Our next report is due from the Met Service officially on the station at that time. Thank you, Thank you, Webster, for the update. The weather was brought to you by Island Style Thailand Bath.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And of course, the number to call and tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. You can also reach us at our WhatsApp number, and that is 724-0008. Now, for the week thus far, we have been seeing, I suppose, what it could perhaps be best described as pop-up protests, which have been organized by the opposition United Workers' Party. And these have seemingly involved maybe about 20 people at various locations to create awareness, I suppose you could say, for various issues that the opposition has been raising in the public domain over the term of this current government. One of them, in fact, And of course, I should also mention that it seems to have been very much a very coordinated effort in terms of these protests, because in fact there was seemingly leaked a uh, sort of a missive going around inviting people to volunteer to be part of these mini protests. And the first one occurred on Monday, and that was in front of the Office of the Citizenship by Investment Program, their unit, the CIU. And it seems again now today, uh, they seem to be following a bit of a pattern. And although originally, from what we understand from this missive that was sent out, that today was actually supposed to have been focusing on healthcare, which is in fact the case, but the original place to meet was in fact the Leclerc Health Center. But it appears, of course, the target destination is that of the Owen King EU Hospital. And so we have seen today members of the United Workers' Party hierarchy being present with some of their supporters, trying to raise focus on the matter of health care, uh, and trying to suggests, of course, that there's no medication. I think this is what we're seeing. According to the list of other events scheduled for the week, it appears that um, the issue of gas prices is going to be one to be focused on tomorrow. Um, and that may very well happen near the gas stations in the VG area. And I think I'll leave that up to your imagination to figure out what gas stations those may be. And on Saturday, I suppose it will be a bit of a shopping day because the idea is to focus on the rising grocery prices. And that may be happening at a particular, um, a particular grocery store or supermarket near you. So that appears to be the approach that the opposition has in fact been taking to try to raise awareness about these issues. Some people have argued that protests require permission or marches or whatnot. I'm not too sure. I think you can have protests once you're not necessarily utilizing um, the street, once you're not disturbing traffic. It's something that you're doing discreetly without interfering with normal flow of vehicle or traffic as well. Once there's no use of any loud public announcement, no amplified sound. So it is within our rights, of course, to be able to protest and to assemble. And so this is the approach that has been used as part of what seems to be the orange movement that the United Workers' Party has been calling on individuals to be prepared for. Well, on the matter of prices, of course, and we do know that that has been a major issue for some time. It may very well become a bigger issue for us here in the Caribbean and certainly in Saint Lucia if Mr. Donald Trump has his way. And there is quite a large, there's quite a furor right now across a number of countries with the announcement of Donald Trump that he plans to institute on day one of his presidency a 25% tariff on goods coming out of Canada, Mexico, and China. We'll leave it out there for the time being. And let's head to the phone lines to take in some calls. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. What's your name again?
George, Mr. George.
Mr. George, and good afternoon, everyone that listen to your program today. I
Wonderful.
have about three on my list. I want to give you today.
Three
This
matters.
first is
Okay, go ahead.
yes. This is first for the health. What the health have to do now? Allow the people to use their they used to before like African, all the different leaf like the citrus leaf by measurement. Because the kind of sickness we get to suffer in, I believe we are included in us because of all the tablets made by 99% of what we're using and we're still sick. That's one. I make it a little faster.
Well, how do you the big question is how do you know how many
Oh,
leaves to use?
okay,
Right.
let
So
me,
I think that's part of the challenge, I think, with some of the
I myself can answer you. Let me answer you. Good. You know when you're making tea, because a lot of people ask you how many leaves to put. If you put a whole portion, you can see the people have no idea. But listen what the fact is. The fact is that not all education is educating them. Let me give you the ideas of how to use leaf. As an African, coastal leaf, you take a little piece. Mango leaf, you take a little piece and buy 4 pieces is a dose for an adult. If you want to make it for children, you can mix it, but use this thing, not boil it. If you boil leaves, it will turn to sugar. But they have to steam in hot water on it, and that's how you get the flavor. And you can heal 99% of our situation. And give me a little piece again for me to give another one. What do you want to know again? About it only. Because you see that's a problem we have.
well, I'm just saying in general that is the strategy.
And I
You know
believe
how
I believe I answered the question.
you see, and I think, well, I mean, maybe in one instance,
Yes,
yes,
and
but
you see
I'm just
sugar.
saying that, and that's perhaps why the good people yesterday were coming up with a book that I suppose gives directions and
Uh,
remedies
that
as to what to use and how to use them and whatnot.
that
So
makes sense. But you see another one. I continue first. Another one again. You see mentioning that you see the sugar. If I tell a solution, every solution have a phone. Go online and Google in African how they making their tea. People must use sugar in the tea, you know. You see lemon, you taking a little, you squeeze it and you're taking a little half of the teaspoon and you put it in a hot water or cold water to drink for your tea. And it brings down your pressure to the natural level. That is how Africans, they're not using tea. Sugar and tea, that is, your body has too much thing to process them sugar in your body. That's why you're so sick. What on the road today, you see a number of people tell you they have pressure, that sugar. Because the sugar they're using, their body cannot take it out. Your body, you're not exercising enough. You have to sweat. So I can give you a lot about health. And I see we're killing ourselves by what we're using. Africans don't use this thing because when the tourists come in St. Lucia, you know what they tell you? I want to go to eating where they have the locals. They don't want to go by KFC, they want to go by local. Why? It's because we are adopting an American food in our system and we're sick. So we have to try to shift it, not too fast, because we like to sit in our mouth, right? So we have to move it in as slowly but surely. But if we don't do that, government wouldn't have money to take care of the people. You know why? Because people will sick so much. When you have a country,
So, caller, I take it you agree with the suggestions that the government or governments in the region should introduce what they call sin taxes. They should charge additional tax on things like sugar and sweet drinks.
If I put sugar tax on it, if they try that, Mister, that's a very good idea to making people shifting from it sugar. Because sugar is not a healthy, not too much sweet things is not healthy for your body. Your body has too much work to break it down, and that is where we fall sick. Try to go in green, thing that is bitter for our body.
Okay, so caller, that was one. You said you had 3 things to discuss.
Okay, the other one is the road.
Okay.
Road is making valleys. Anywhere road is the place is valley. So let me give an example. About most of our roads in St. Lucia are not developed for the past 10 years now. And what happened? They just surface it with a little when you have a pothole, they just surface it and back next day, it come back normal for the next 2 years. Government has to create a way to stop up. You see, when they have a lot of piece about, you say about 100 feet away, they have to, the pothole, they mash up the road. Let me tell you one thing. Them engineer that do the road before and the engineer that cut the top surface to repave it back, how to get together. That's a bad idea because the road already have the foundation surface, Why you mash it up again? Because of the asphalt. This is what we try to work with. They have another machine they can cut it on top of the asphalt and then they just surface it with asphalt back because the foundation of the road is there. It's because of the too much cracking, the water, but the water don't interfere. When you're watching our vehicles in the road because of the surface of the water, that is just a surface and making the ground surface come a little white and you see it in our vehicle. So just cut that and actually that's about it. But and number, you want to comment about that one or we number 3 one time? Which one?
No, go ahead. And number 3,
All
go
right.
ahead.
Number 3 is the supermarket. Let me give you the challenge that we're facing. Everybody, they fortnight is left. They monthly left. They do now. They call it the thing we used to do. We used to go and make a job and come back. We call it a hand to mouth is gone by the supermarket because the supermarket is ripping, puffing the people. Let me tell you how that happens. Where they purchase the goods, they give it to us. They get duty free. They don't buy it by one. That is 1. 2.
You saying that the supermarkets get duty free?
Huh?
You saying I don't know that's correct, caller.
Okay. Okay. Let me explain again. Maybe let me explain again. I say, if you buy an item to sell, they will not give you one to sell. They give you a big amount, right? So you can cover if they have some spoil or whatever. But the supermarket seems to me they are nothing spoiled because the price they're selling the thing, they don't, to my mind, they don't care if it's selling or not sell. They sell the thing too expensive because the government give them duty free on it. Why they sell the goods in the supermarket so expensive for the people? So the people go in this market for $100. They can't, a 5-year-old can carry a $500 message. That is robbery. People have to try to move into green by planting what they produce. If they not do that, the supermarket will never change because the supermarket believes they fully depend on them, so they sell it how they want. That's why. That's a further I can receive my contribution. Let somebody else make a contribution too. Thank you.
All right then, caller. Thanks very much for your various points of view. On the matter of the supermarkets, I think one of the major issues is that of competition, and it's the reality right now is that we don't have very much. We're seeing a little bit more competition now coming in, but of course, let's be real, we also have the challenges of volume in our markets, and it is certainly an issue all around the world where you're seeing these price increases. Over in Martinique, for example, they've been trying to find a workable solution. And my understanding is that there were negotiations ongoing with the supermarket chains, with the French national government, as well as the departmental level government as well, trying to find a workable balance in terms of even controlling markups on certain items. I think they had a basket of about 700 goods that they wanted to actually try to alleviate the prices on. But there have been significant challenges in terms of people all agreeing. But let's go to another phone call at this time to hear another voice. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Hi, good afternoon.
How are you doing, caller?
I'm fine, thank you.
And what's on your plate today?
I already ate everything on my plate, but I see you're given breakfast, lunch, and dinner by the gentleman.
Yes, you made sure to touch on all the issues.
And I share the most experts on everything. The people are there, but you said something. The people that you had yesterday concerning, will they be selling like any herbal things?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Yes, I heard you talk about the soursop because I have been trying the soursop leaves because I pour the water in it to see if it, but it seems to be working for me.
Well, when you say it's not working for you, what were you expecting it to do? What were your expectations?
I know they said it makes you sleep very well.
Ah, okay, I see.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, we hear that, and I think a lot of people seem to use it with, I suppose, maybe differing impacts. So it's interesting that you say that it's not helping you sleep.
I don't know if I'm doing it wrong because they say put 5 leaves, which I think somebody can want to start with 7, then go to 6, then go to 5, and and I tried it that way. But yeah, so but I think they'll be there tonight at the BBC Club.
Sorry, what's happening at the Yes, they're supposed to be at the VBCC tomorrow night,
Oh,
tomorrow
tomorrow night.
evening. Yes, tomorrow evening,
Okay.
Thursday,
Yeah,
the
maybe
28th,
maybe I can get
from
someone
6 o'clock.
to hear what they're saying and what
Yes.
they're offering. And you said about there was supposed to have been a pop-up at the Leclerc Wellness Center today, you know.
Well, I thought so, which is like I said, from what I had read of um the post that was coming, but I suspect maybe what it was is that this was a meeting point, and maybe they would have been at the Leclerc Health Center first, and then maybe moved to the OKEU, or maybe they just decided to just go to OKEU alone. So
it wouldn't make any sense coming to the Luxury Wellness Center, because what were you going to come and pop up and protest for? Luxury Health Center, they have right now. You have the people from Castries. That's where they use now, and usually the pharmacists they're very early. There's some more than 3 people sitting that to attend to. They even have triage, and there's a doctor there. Usually once a while I go there on a Wednesday. This for normal checkup, like pressure and all of these things. And then things are always running smoothly. You know, they have the security. Usually the pharmacist, as I say, is always there. This is the medication for the people. There's a doctor named by the name of Dr. Henry, who is, she's, I would say, very, very pleasant. She takes her time. Sometimes you sit there for the longest while. She's even going to give jokes and everything with you. And things move very quickly. So why, if you have never been to the Leclerc Health Center, then why you want to pop up there?
What I find also a little funny too, caller, is this matter regarding our healthcare. We've had issues with healthcare, to be quite frank, from time immemorial. I don't know when we've ever had a good health system in the country. Have we made progress with respect to our health system over the years? I think we have made some considerable progress. All things considered, we have made progress. Have we areas where we need to do much better? Well, without a doubt, we know that, and we know some of the challenges that continue to exist. We still have a situation where for diagnostic tests, a lot of people are still dependent on private providers if they want to get an MRI done. And some of these facilities were supposed to have been provided within the OKEU, right? But unfortunately, we know the story there, I think, how, machines were supposed to have been maintained a certain way, and they were not. And so we don't have use of them right now. And so we've seen they got damaged. We've seen the issues, the failures of the past. And addressing them, of course, is going to be it's going to come at a pretty penny. And I think that is the issue. I mean, I did hear the Prime Minister say that he was going to be making some announcements regarding health financing. But we've been speaking about the matter of how do you finance universal health care, right? We have a situation where you've got your primary health centers and as well your General Hospital, St. Jude, and OKEU or Millennium Heights. How are you going to, and the cost of OKEU has gone up considerably, right? Are we prepared to be able to, effectively find the resources to be able to cover the costs of operating OKU? And of course, there are some people who are saying, and it's an interesting situation, even when recently the government found some monies, I think about $16 million, right, to pay the backlog of some of the debt that was owed by OKEU, so that they could free themselves up in terms of their cash flow issues, and also improve their standing with suppliers as well, right? You then heard some people saying, why are you giving the money to OKEU? Well, I think 11 million came from from the CIP, but there was an additional 5 million that I think
Yes,
came from the direct government coffers, the consolidated fund. And so you then had people saying, well, if you're giving them the money, then the problem is not the money. The problem is now the management of OKEU, So, I mean, yes, there may be management issues. I'm not saying that they're not management issues, but you have to realize that you have a number of issues to deal with concurrently, right? And addressing them is not going to be all done at one go.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to begin addressing them. And I thought, at least in terms of that, that's a step in the right direction. The other point I wanted to make to caller is that it seems every single minister for health is declared the worst minister for health that we've ever had.
I have been with VH compared to what they have now with OKEU. I have been at a hospital only once in my life. That is when I gave birth to my daughter, who is in her 30s. And when I went there, after giving birth, just going to what they call the bathroom,
right,
I was not able to eat for about 2-3 days because it was messy. There was so much water, and the conditions was not good. So now, when you go, I've been to OKU just once, just to get some blood tests, and just not able to see, but just the whole atmosphere. They just go check it, moving around.
Right.
Everything smells so good. It's totally different to what we had before.
It seems like a vast improvement from what I recall of accident and emergency at VH and what existed in terms of some of the condition of the wards at VH before. I think we certainly have stepped up. But I'm not saying that obviously we have to be able to maintain, and this is where the big issue is, to be able to maintain the cost of healthcare, the quality of the healthcare that we have. And as a country, right, as with all other countries right now, we have to be able to figure out how is that going to actually be funded, right? That's a major component. When people look at the United States and the money that they spend, or the annual budget, a vast majority of that money is going towards Medicare, right? Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Right, that's and that amount is still not the full story in terms of because so many people have to have health insurance, and so these are the people who are just not within the insurance pool to begin with. So it costs quite a lot. We know that healthcare is expensive, but it is a human right. It is something that we all need to access.
Yeah. Yes, you said about the USA they help, because just I think night before I was listening, this gentleman was saying almost $3 trillion is put into on fuel, we call that, whereby this could have gone into health care for people to preempt a lot of what is the disease and sicknesses that happen, whereby he's saying it's a waste of time putting so much into $3 trillion, he said, $3 trillion into fuel, whereby people are suffering. The health conditions are not really good. He said, good. I didn't know where he was from, but the artist, it was on one of NBC, one of them, and we were discussing other things. The three main things he said was health, the economy, and something else. And he said priority should be put in for health first, because once you put priority into health, I think education, then he said you have a stronger and much better economy, because you want to preempt all kinds of sicknesses, especially for the like you said, the older people are just dying quickly. So you want to preempt for the younger ones that are coming on stream, that you have everything in place for them. But he said not money is being spent on that. Most of it is spent on things that are not even worth, them to wasting money on. And then he was saying, the USA alone have a debt of 34 trillion.
Yeah, it's about 100% of their GDP, right? They are really
How
at that
much?
level right now, 100% of GDP.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, nearly 30% of all the US budget, annual US budget, is going
Mm-hmm.
towards Medicare and health. And that's far, far, far more than education. When you compare, which is different from us here. We spend a lot of
Mm-hmm.
money on education. Now, it's a conversation that we may have to have, I think, as a country, because there was a time when you had a very young population. You had lots of people who had to be in school, so we needed lots of teachers, you need a lot of investment in
Mm-hmm.
education. That has flipped. So you now have a
Yeah.
situation where you actually have a lot of relatively empty schools.
Yeah.
Schools populations now are half of what they used to be. And so, as a country gets older, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, you actually do need to be spending some more on healthcare. And
Yeah.
I think it's how do you balance things out? That's a big challenge, no doubt, because it's not as easy to tell people, well, do you tell
But
somebody, well, you're a teacher now, maybe we need to make a transition to become a nurse or a
unless,
doctor? I don't know. It's part of the challenge that we have, certainly, as a country.
but are we? But when we're talking about healthcare, but are we as a people willing to pay
No, caller. I don't think,
taxes?
and that's the thing, nobody wants to
Wants to
pay
pay.
at the point of the service. And so the question is, well, if that's the case, maybe we need to look at how to do it other ways, right?
Yeah.
That I think is a bullet that we have to bite at some point.
Because
Um,
by all means, you have in order to get, you have to give, and most times we are, as a nation, we really don't want to pay for anything. We feel everything should be given to us.
mhm.
But just simply taxes. None of us want to pay those things. But then we want the healthcare, we want the roads, we want everything. But are
And
we?
Caller, maybe we need a merger of the ministries of health and food and agriculture, because that's part of the challenge we have to, right? The issue of preventing a lot of these challenges that we have today.
And then you have people playing on people ignorance all the time. They call this thing and they push that down the people's throat, telling the people, when they are intelligent, they should know better than that, but yet they push it down people's throat all the time. Why you're killing the people? You're taking so much taxes from them. It's a whole lot, and people that don't know better don't realize in order for us to get all of these things we need, they buy into that, and you find so many angry people. People are always so upset. People are being, just the whole atmosphere and attitude of people has changed because there's so much people are just pushing people to get angry, to get mad, to get upset.
Mm.
And that is why when you see most of the violence that are taking place, who is pushing all of this violence and all of these things? It's people that know better. People that are in position. People that, at the end of the day, they don't feel like those people they push. They don't feel, are they going to take out from the pocket to give those people? No, but they push those people. At the end of the day,
Yeah,
they
that
said,
it's
go.
definitely not helpful in terms of the issue of anger. We have a lot
No, you
of
cannot be
anger
pushing.
management issues already in this
And
country.
therefore,
So
are you pushing? You're pushing a whole lot of anger at people. And then you have the younger ones listening. They hear this thing. They say, if you pushing it. So what's wrong? They can do it. And these are the kind of things. I just say, you listen on a daily basis. There are some men that I listen to them. It's like they're on rotation on the radio. You hear them all the time.
well,
They're pushing
they're
the
also on
same.
rotation in the mini protest call as well. Because I'm seeing it's in fact the same faces that you're seeing in all the protests as
They
well.
push it.
So
I am saying, I'll say again, I think there are more men, women, there are more women hard at work. While there are men, they hardly working and just making noise all around the place.
okay, caller. Yeah, I suspect you like to throw in these gender issues about women. But thanks a lot for that one. Have a good one. Okay, take care. All the best. And we're going to have to call it to an end at this point because we're already over time here at the Lunchroom. Thanks, of course, to all those who are listening and who called in to make contributions. We do wish you a wonderful Wednesday. And we're back again, God willing, for another program tomorrow. Hope you can take care and join us for that. I'm your host, Calixte, saying goodbye.